All right, good evening. I'd like to call this regular scheduled Chandler Town Council meeting to order with a roll call, please.
Cheryl Amos.
Here.
Kim Burnett.
Here.
Sandy Elder. Tanya Wester.
Here.
Ron Willage.
Here.
If you'll please stand if capable for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You okay?
Oh, yeah, I just had a hard time getting out of my chair.
Okay, fair enough. Had to get the grease rolling. The joints. All right, in front of us, we have the council meeting minutes from July 17th. Any questions, concerns, or changes to be had?
I didn't see any after Brian corrected a couple of things.
Okay. Then if not, I'd like to entertain motions to accept the meeting minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Cheryl.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sandy.
Yes.
Tanya.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Okay, meeting minutes will pass as presented. Comments from citizens on the agenda. We have Brittany Daugherty with the community garden. It's Daughter.
Darling.
Darlene.
Darty,
I was going to say Darty. I
I
thought.
thought it was darling. Sorry.
I want to ask your permission on if we can bring our harvest cart out to the town hall. So that way it's more centralized. We're finding that there's people who don't want to cross the highway. And some of it, the produce is going bad because of the sunlight. So we thought if it was more, it would, two birds, one stone. If we could have it where it's more centralized for everybody can feel comfortable coming here, that, and it can get the shade. I would check on it every evening and restock it every evening, if there's anything to be restocked. And I'll be going through, we have it worked out for a worm farm for compost and all that, so none of that's gonna be sitting, no rotten fruit, nothing. So that was one thing I was gonna ask if we could do that. It would only be for, until this harvest is done. We're hoping, with your permission, we can do a winter, crop. And that is as far as, I put in a request for, expansion for the garden for next year. We have goals of doing a pumpkin patch for the Chandler Celebration Day, and, we can use the space, we can utilize it, it's just sitting there, and we can make it awesome, just like we did this year. With that request as well, I'm asking if we can put up our fence. We want to put a fencing at 200 feet of welded, 4-foot welded wire, and I'm still working on the 6-foot T-posts that would go in about a 1.5 feet into the ground that would secure the spot that we're trying to do for winter crop. So that way the animals don't come and eat it in the winter versus having to constantly check on if the weather is destroyed, the little fencing that we have now. Can't tell you how many countless zip ties we've gone through just with the little fencing we have. We want to make it look better. We want it to look nice. We want it to be strong so we can work on it through the winter as well. And the email, I requested an additional 25 feet. As I was thinking and starting to hear more opportunities after I joined Lions Club, that we could really do something bigger than just 25 feet. So I know at the first meeting that I attended, I said there's room to grow on that stretch right there, right next to the garden, and we want to grow. After thinking 25 feet, that wouldn't do much for a pumpkin patch. So maybe if with your permission, and it'd be on the hill, we can double that and do another 25 by 50, add an additional 25 by 50. So that way we'll have plenty of room for more vegetables for next year and have the pumpkin patch that we're kind of having our eyes on to do for the community. Of course, pumpkin patch, how that would work is that will be free to the community after the Chandler Day celebration for the parade. So we're going to try to bring people to the garden too. That's next year's goal, okay? This year's goal is we wanna go ahead and till up 25, at least 25 feet to 50 feet, if you'll let us, so we can prepare that. When you till the land, it takes a lot of nutrients out, which we've learned this year that we took a lot of nutrients out, so we are constantly adding. We want to add before we start planting for 2024. So we're going to be preparing that new land expansion, and then what we already have, that's where we're going to start when our crops, radishes, turnips, all that. It's going to put nutrients back into the ground, plus we'll have a harvest for when those are ready. And then once we pull those, then we can work on spring. So that's the request I have.
Brittany, do you think you've had the support that she was hoping to have with the garden, people helping you, or has it been has a lot fallen on just you?
Not a lot. I mean, there is a small team of, I would say, 5, but we have a lot of people who did not feel comfortable signing the waiver. So what they were doing is I called them silent volunteers. I didn't even know that they were going there pulling weeds, they were helping. So there's still people that I had never even seen or met. They just show up and help. So I can't give you an exact number. But the team that I do have, are they willing to put in the labor and make next year better? Absolutely. So the labor's there. People want to do it. Will it fall on me? Maybe. I don't know which one is more.
I was just curious because I didn't know, you know.
Right, but you know what? I take on that responsibility because it's been an absolute wonderful experience, a labor of love, and I want to do it bigger and better next year. And my small volunteer team who's willing to put in that extra work is willing to do it too. So. It's just land sitting there.
Well, I mean, the whole thing about it is it's really not just land sitting there. There's, you know, the bike park's going in, there's some other things that are going there, but I'm sitting here thinking of some other stuff. I'm not saying no because I'm thinking of other stuff. And this might get shot down. I've not said this to any single person here, but I know we've talked about over there by the drainage area there by Green Valley. You know, we've talked about doing some stuff there, planting some sunflowers and stuff there. That is former farmland. It might actually be better to do the pumpkin stuff, all that sort of stuff. I mean, pumpkin vines go crazy. I like the idea of it. I really do
Right.
like the idea of the pumpkins and stuff like that. But what I'm thinking of is something that's even bigger than better than what you're thinking of, that has more room for you to do this than just that small plot there, because we can't take over everything over there on the community center because, you know, the bike park's going in there. There's, you know, plans to put in a shelter house, you know, different stuff around there for the bike park. But so we can't take just all of that property, you know, when you say that's not,
The hill.
yeah, like there's no idea. And I'm not sure which part of the
So you're
hill
saying
you're talking
going
about.
straight
Just
back
the
behind
hill
it,
Where we're already at.
but just go
Going
behind
back.
it?
Yeah, not going, we don't want to go where the drain's at. That's not where we.
So you're talking about going out towards the front.
Right, right. So on the,
Okay.
we're looking at the garden, the left side, that big hill.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're kind of towards the bottom, going that way.
I mean, you know, because we've
well-
had some conversations about potentially putting some different stuff over there because right now it
Yes.
is just area we mow.
Yes. My only thing with that, Tanya, is, and just to be honest, and the only reason I don't think it's going to be as big a problem over there is over what we're talking about is kids. And that sounds terrible, I know, but kids busting them just to be mean.
Oh,
And-
yeah, I mean, you're gonna.
Yeah, and it's going to happen, and it's going to happen up here. But I think maybe it might be less likely not being in a neighborhood. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
So where are you talking about? Tanya, what are
I'm
you
talking about the drainage area, the Green Valley drainage area where the,
Retention pond is?
yes.
Oh, well, that's not what I thought you
What
meant.
would you think I was talking
I
about?
thought you was talking on down on the
No.
other side of Iowa Street.
Oh,
We
no,
have
no,
that
no.
area.
I was thinking about, that's farmland.
Yeah.
We're doing
Right.
nothing but mowing it right now.
So how would they have access to, how would they get to it?
Well, I mean, Michael, how do you get to it from, you know, if you,
There's a road.
there, that's what I started saying, isn't there a roadway that goes back through there? It's a walking
It's
roadway.
an defined roadway.
Coming off what way?
Iowa.
Okay.
Along with myself, have been meeting with Soil Water Conservation District both and making some plans about concerning that area. There is access that we're planning, or want to potentially give you a master plan up for that.
We're about one meeting early.
Okay.
The next council meeting.
The next
The next
meeting.
council meeting, we plan to have something for you to look at with regards to that 10 acres there.
Okay.
But,
Well, yes, I would say this is that if you knew there was potential for the property in discussion, would that change any of your plans with the community center?
As far as the land that you're talking about, if you're to move the garden itself,
I'm not saying move the whole garden. I'm just saying like for your pumpkin area, pumpkins have a tendency to vine, like, you know, you can't say, oh, I want a 25 square foot plot and grow a huge ton of pumpkins. They require a lot of area.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's the
a
reason,
6 foot, roughly 6 foot plant.
yeah.
And you can get, I'd say between probably 6 to 8 pumpkins if you take care. So that's why I was like, that 25 feet really isn't gonna do anything. In the email I initially was like, oh, you expand 25 feet. And I'm like, well, that's only gonna be like 4 pumpkin plants.
I mean, that's the reason I was saying this other areas because I knew there's a lot more
What
room.
about watering?
Yeah.
I know.
I was trying to think of the whole big scheme there. Not being negative, because I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. There's been lots of good comments, lots of great feedback. I think I said to Kim a while ago, one of the things I thought was really cool is I know a couple people that just took stuff that they had extra from their garden and put in the cart for those who didn't have. I thought that was cool.
That's super. I was excited to hear everybody was like, hey, I got extra. It's like, right on.
Yep.
Which goes into the request of the cart being here because for one, it's cooking out the sun. I've already went through 2 umbrellas because the wind picked it up and, you know, it caused a little bit of damage. So I thought, maybe if we monitored it, I live like right down the road, so, you know, coming here and checking on it, I go to the garden anyway, so.
I don't know. What's anyone else's thought?
I'm not opposed to the cart being here during harvest
Oh,
time
no.
for those
Right.
reasons.
I
Do you
mean,
think that's a problem, Misty?
yeah, definitely not.
Okay.
There's that shaded area right by the front doors, you know what I mean? So I think it'll be fine.
oh, okay, because I'm sitting here thinking, where's the shade at around here?
This would be a great day.
Thursdays,
Yeah,
yeah.
because Thursdays is when they have the food trucks here.
Would be, wouldn't it?
There's a lot of people.
It would actually bring a lot of attention, just as a whole, to the whole thing. If
Right.
I'm not saying no. I mean,
I got a question for you, Tanya. Okay, so you're saying this other property,
I'm not saying yes either because I'm not sure what they have, you know, because I had some stuff in the back of my head that I've been actually working on thoughts for that because I just want something different. I wanted a sunflower patch there. That's what I wanted the whole time there.
You will be
Is-
happy.
I think
Okay.
a full permaculture garden would be the best way to go. There's
But-
absolutely no maintenance and it feeds people. No maintenance feeds people and it helps the native wildlife. Can't go wrong with that, but that's just fine. I mean, you got that much space, plus you can make it a walkway like some of the parks in Evansville. You can do that.
So,
You can have
okay,
them.
so I don't know.
Anyway,
I want to look at the property. I'm not saying no. I mean, do we have to rush on this today?
No, I would ask maybe.
Let's
do it.
Let's do the cart. Let's say okay on the cart.
I
and
agree.
Look at the other later
Let's
for
go.
next meeting.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do the cart. Give us time to go look at all the properties and figure out where we're going at. We're not saying no. We just want to make sure that we make the right decision as to where to put it.
Right.
I mean, we're not saying no at all.
Correct, no, if you do say no, and you say you don't want to do the pumpkin patch and all that, that's fine.
I mean, I like the idea of a pumpkin patch.
Another, like I said, dealing with wanting to do a winter harvest and all that is the animals. I have this fence. Can I use it? I have 200 feet that I can, you know, I can cut
See
out
anything wrong with it.
our spot.
We still have to get a permit to put up for fencing.
Right. Which I wasn't sure how that was
I
gonna
mean, we
work
still have to
because
do a
it's
permit.
town property,
You know, the
so-
town even has to do a permit to get our fencing as
I
well.
think that's something we should look at another time.
Yeah,
I think we
let's,
should think
let's
about
look at this, you know, continue to get your stuff together. Let's look at this. I mean, we meet again in 2 weeks. We should be able to have good answers by then.
Okay, cause yeah, I got people lined up, ready to till it, we're ready to pick nutrients.
Okay.
And extended parts, so as soon as you say, okay, we're gonna get to work right away.
So 2 weeks from today, give all of us a chance to be out and look and go from there.
Okay, and then, can I bring the cart by at any time? Is that all right?
I like the idea of the alcove right up here in the, under the shade, because I kept thinking, where's the shade out here? Except out by the road. So, but, yeah.
Awesome, okay, thank you,
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work.
thank you.
Okay. Moving down, Terry Lockyer in 202 North Kentucky. Push.
Did she say 4 foot?
Maybe,
tall?
yeah.
She said
Yeah,
4
it
foot
starts
high
saying-
fence or 5?
I thought she said 4.
4 foot?
Yeah.
I thought she said 5. I don't know.
We can send an email back to her and ask that, Ron.
What was the question?
What was the
4
size
foot
of
or
the fence? I
5
thought
foot
it was
high
4.
fence?
I don't know.
She talking about.
Her stakes were 6 foot. She
Yeah.
put the
Yeah.
foot.
That's,
in-
so that's
in
what I
the
thought was
house.
4 foot.
I think the
Yeah.
fence is 4 foot.
Because it's 2 foot for the ground, that would be 4.
Yeah.
Should be 4 foot.
Okay, concerning the property at 202 North Kentucky, I have some pictures that I would like for you to see. Some of the progress that we've made there.
Thank you.
I would like to have the printed copies back.
Sure.
You girls take that and I'll share with Ron.
Oh, okay.
Really nice.
Okay, what do you
I don't
have?
care. That's not acceptable. It might be improvement in somebody's, but not in mine.
Is this the, oh, I see what. But it
I
doesn't
don't know
show
what
the
it
ground.
was before.
Picture
Let's
doesn't
see,
show the
improvement.
ground. Is that here?
I guess that's a shed. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Terry, is that a shed behind the trampoline here? Behind this trampoline, is that a shed? Can you see that?
Here, Ron, you wanna look at this one? This one's a
I
different
get
one.
that. I'm done.
They don't have the same pictures we do.
I mean, it doesn't show the ground.
Uh-huh.
I'm taking stuff off here, but
It's
it's
this big picture here. That's not true.
That's the back of the house.
That's
That's
slot.
not, that's not acceptable.
But is this supposed to be the improvement?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because if this is, this doesn't show the ground.
No.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know.
Here, just pass it down there.
You guys got one
You
down?
wanna switch?
Yeah, do we?
Oh, we got different ones?
I think so, if that is what they, is what it is.
She said that's the back of the house.
I don't know.
That's what
Okay.
Cheryl was asking.
That's the garage, ain't it?
This,
I don't know.
I'm gonna clip this so we can see it better.
That's not the house.
I don't know.
This is the back of the house.
There's no context. We don't know what's what.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's
This is
what.
I don't know what's
taken,
what.
Like standing here.
We have no
camper, going
context.
across.
The large photo was the original, the
And
smaller
here's
But what are the
back of house
buildings?
now where they've
I don't know what the
covered
buildings are.
And they covered it.
I mean, and they don't necessarily match, like dynamics wise, like where they're taken from and where they're,
You can't, a lot of times you
Yeah,
can't tell
yeah,
things
you
off
can't.
the
Come on.
pictures unless you have context to what's what around.
okay,
Is this the upgrade
all right.
from?
Okay, this
Yeah.
photo was supposed to
I
have been
think they're
taken
trying
to
to
show
show
the
that they're
condition of
clean.
the
That's what I
fence.
think, Todd.
And that's where.
I know.
the
Okay,
repair
and
of
the
fence
fence repair is fine on that part. But there's nothing
about the
showing
building?
what's happened here
Yeah.
in this.
Have them to explain it, what is it?
That's in
You have a
the
different
photo.
photo.
So that, in this,
You want to see this closer?
go back and down. This is the before, this is the back of the house. And
Okay.
then
Okay.
this is like standing here by the camper, going across, taking that picture. And then this is now the back of the house where they've covered it.
Better, but what about the deck? What about the,
And then it doesn't show anything to do with that's the yard.
The deck needs a board put across the center of it.
The deck looks like it needs to be
More than
torn
that.
down.
Needs more than a board across the
I'm gonna
center
get rid
of
of this
it.
because trying to keep it all together. There.
Okay,
Is this the one you have all?
is
of
that
them?
the,
Yeah, the back of the house looks nice.
yeah,
This is the driveway. So this is, I just want to make sure I understand. This is then, and this is what it looks like now. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. In this photo, you can't even see the top of the porch here. The window's covered, it's been uncovered. This was on top of the porch, it's now gone.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I was really hoping they would have gotten a better photo of the actual driveway itself, but I didn't take a picture.
Got it.
But I know.
Oh, it's the other side.
There's no stand.
this is the other one. This is the back of the house.
No, I've already looked.
Okay,
That's the one I asked her about.
Okay. this is the other one. This is the fence. This is showing where the fence was laying down.
As far as
And the fence has been
Put back up.
Put back up.
Partially put back up.
There.
Some damage right there.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know, and I'm really interested in seeing a lot of the ground as well. And we're not seeing the ground where things are picked up from the
That
ground,
out there shows
honestly.
a lot of improvement.
That does, and that's on the outside from the neighbor's yard looking towards. This picture is,
Yeah, that shows a lot of improvement there.
but this is not their yard.
Oh, that's not, that's the
This
neighbor's
is their
yard.
fence.
Okay,
This
that's
st- yes.
That's just showing the fence, okay.
Yes, this is showing where the fence was
I mean,
down and the
that's-
fence is
that's a
up,
start.
which it is. I mean, it is somewhat up there. Yes, I agree.
That's a start.
But
And
what's
this is-
behind it,
Yeah.
that's
So,
what we
yeah,
don't
we're not
see.
seeing,
We're not seeing
what
that.
this looks like in
We're
the
not seeing this
present,
sort of
yeah.
stuff, you know, those sorts of things. And I mean, I know Rome wasn't built in a day.
So when you're saying behind what? I'm confused.
Saying-
You're not seeing what, behind what?
The fence.
The-
In-
This is what the
In the
fence looked,
backyard?
yes, this is what it looked like before. And this is what the fence is now. We show the fence improvement, but we're not seeing the rubble, the rubbish, which is a huge problem, which is a lot of why the attention is being brought to the property over the years anyway.
Correct. And in the first month or so that this has been ongoing, we have had a serious communication issue. The person that lives at that house works the exact same hours as Officer Carr, who we were told was supposed to be our contact. So we haven't been able to actually sit down and discuss particulars.
I mean, particulars, honest to goodness, I'm just gonna say this honest, Tommy. The particulars of this should be open to the eyesight when you look at that. I mean,
Okay.
and, you know,
I understand what you're saying, but what might be junk to you may not be junk to her, so. And there
Well-
again,
And it is a work
Nobody-
in progress.
and I understand it's a work in progress, but it still seems like it's a huge safety issue, not seeing like what's behind that fence.
that's another discussion
Okay,
that I want to get involved in.
I understand. I mean, it just seems. Okay, so what are you needing from us?
I'm needing you to understand that we are working on it,
Mm-hmm,
and I would appreciate a little leniency on the fine. I agree that the removal and stuff like that is probably, that we do owe that, so I would like a little leniency on the fine. I personally am not able to go over there and work, but I am trying to financially do my part. A lot of times, there's a lot of work conflict. A lot of times Tanya works from 6 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon. Then she's got the family to take care of. She's got, you know, a lot of things going on. Like I said, I don't have the ability to go over and do things. but I am trying to support and give, monetary help, for what's going on. I can't go over, I can't bag trash, and I can't do this and that.
And that is appreciated. But this has been going on for a long time, I mean, it has. It's been going on for a long time. It's not the first time. And the leniency has went on for way too
But
long.
I personally was not aware of what was going on.
I mean, this has been going on for
Everything was sent to
years.
that address.
And I understand what you're
Not
saying,
there.
but this has still been going on prior to any of us basically being on the council. For years upon years, this buildup has happened. And I understand that part. Totally get that. And I'm very appreciative of what has done. Like the back of the house, like Ron said, the back of the house is tenfold better than what it was.
Big improvement.
Tenfold, without fail. The back of the house is now covered. I wish you had pictures of what we could see here next to this vehicle, the rubble there,
That same view.
Yes, what happens if this, what is that? Is that a garage, a lean-to? What is that? Behind the trampoline, what is that?
That's the house.
The garage,
That's the house.
Okay.
This piece.
the house,
Oh, that's
The
a-
garage was.
Is this the garage, the bottom piece?
Yes.
Okay.
That tarp over the front of it, that blown over the front of it.
And what I say from safety issues is, what if that catches fire? How, is there a pathway for the fire department to get there, to get that put out without then it catching your neighbor's places on fire and things like that? That's what I'm saying from safety issues. Or what if someone gets hurt back there? How do you get back there? Those are the concerns. That's why we're wanting the things cleaned up, and that's why we have to have some sort of cleanup. I wish we saw pictures of what was the garage area. Now, I know you brought the fence, but the other end.
I knew what you meant.
But as they're continuing, if there's continual improvement, and I mean continual improvement with, does text messages, emails, pictures, whatever, continual improvement, I don't have a problem with no further fines while it's happening, while this is going on. I don't have a problem with no further fines if everyone else is okay, that as long as we see weekly or every other week improvements. And when I mean improvements, pictures have to follow
right?
without fail.
Our inspections.
Or,
Allowing
yeah.
someone to
If,
come and inspect.
yeah. I know Jordan's doing most of this, and they're saying that she works the same shift as Jordan does, which is the 6 to 2. Is there any slight ability there where we could do a different time? So we could do a different time, whether it would, even if it wouldn't necessarily be Jordan, one of your other officers or something other could work with Jordan even? So we can do some sort of time frame that way, but we have to have continued improvement. I believe so. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We have to see continued improvement.
Yeah,
I appreciate that,
yeah.
but there is, at this point, there's no way that I can come up with $5,000.
And, and so we just won't do any more of the fines as long as the continuation goes on in the improvement. And I would like to see weekly or bi-weekly. What do you guys think?
Weekly.
Weekly.
Yeah.
A weekly, just weekly communication.
Or if they take a picture where they're starting and at the end of the week,
Yes.
take another picture.
Yes,
Yeah,
like
I
if you
like that
start,
idea.
like this section here that I was talking about, if you take a picture of that and this is the area we're focusing on this week, we're gonna clean this area up, you take a picture of this, and I don't care if it's sent via text message. It's still a picture. I know, but I'm sure your kids do, I'm sure someone that's doing the cleanup, someone probably does, takes pictures and text messages, because every kid nowadays does that stuff. So,
I would appreciate
Oh, no, you can have these back. I don't have,
That's your copy of the small pictures.
okay. So we'll keep the small copies, but, you know, like I said, the bigger ones are somewhat, let me give you your paper clips too, hon. Or what, you know, some of the concern is I see where, you know, there has been some effort by far.
And that will give me a reference also.
Sure. You know, because the ground, which is what is some of these big pictures, is some of the stuff that's the problem. Okay? I don't see any, but I still do have some concerns about the safety of the box van that's on the side and how close it is to the house. I definitely know that is not code. And when I say the box van, it's,
That was approved 15 years ago.
okay.
Or longer, because my husband's been gone over 15 years.
Well, I really,
That was approved
Okay.
long before that.
What was
Okay.
that used for? That box,
storage,
was just for storage?
I assume.
Yes,
Okay.
that-
Does
that
it
was-
stay shut, is it closed?
It is,
I have no idea if it is.
Okay.
At this time. I know it's-
I mean, can it be closed?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
but that was approved a long
They
time
shouldn't have
ago.
done that because next to that, your house like that puts your house in a fire issue right there.
I'm thinking that was done before a lot of the ordinances were changed.
Okay. And then, are there, I know at one point in time there was, because I drove by and I've seen it. Is there any refrigerators or anything like that still there with doors?
There is one refrigerator still at the edge of the driveway next to the camper. We were trying to make arrangements to have that taken.
Okay.
It is.
We believe it has Freon in it, so it cannot be.
Okay, even get the doors off because that is a danger with the doors on if you can. Just because,
The magnetic strip from the doors has bigger.
okay, so it would, if someone got in, they wouldn't be stuck in it. Okay. So, yeah, I'd like to see that. I haven't been by lately, but I did see it at one point in time. Haven't had a reason to go by. But yeah, if you can, get with and make communication with Jordan, you can talk to Chief there, he can get you a little information, just once a week until things, you know, get into a better thing, and then we maybe can move it out to twice a month. Okay? And as long as we're seeing improvement, we won't levy any more fines. Thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing her. Okay, now we're going to move on down to the town attorney.
Okay, first issue is resolution number 2023-01. Brian, that is correct, it's our first resolution. This is what we had talked about at the last meeting, and I had circulated this previously. This concerns the Lampert properties. Now, there's two actions we're going to have to take. This is the first tonight. Another one will come here soon, assuming you guys want to. This first one is what we call waiving non-compliance for timely filing some of the documents with the county. This gives you guys that opportunity to do that. Now, we talked previously for this portion, because you'd already approved it for 5 years, that is what it is, but at least they'll get the full 5 years after you approve this. As I understand it, there's another development there in the works for that they're going to seek a 10-year abatement from you guys on. And so we'll, assuming you pass this tonight, I'll get with them and then we'll, get those resolutions in order and you'll see those in the future. But this is the first one to take the existing project and allow them to get the full 5 years.
Okay, any questions or concerns on this? Okay, then I'd like to entertain motions to accept Town of Chandler Resolution Number 2023-01, a resolution of the Town of Chandler approving a waiver of noncompliance for failure to timely file certain tax abatements.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy, Tanya,
Yes,
Ron.
Yes.
Okay, and then Tanya, after you sign that, if you could pass it down.
Pass it
and then,
down the way.
I'll then make sure the auditor and the assessor get copies, and then send a copy to the property owner as well.
Right.
Okay, issue number 2, I think I emailed you guys about this. This is, gosh, it may have been a year. I don't know how long. We've chatted about potentially looking at other annexation opportunities, and so I think your direction to me was to get with Michael and Rob and now Tyler and say, hey, what works from a utility standpoint, et cetera, and then let you guys, based on that, see what you wanted to do. So really, I started broad, and I can't remember if it was, I printed them all out in case you want to look at them, but I think there were 4 different areas, and maybe you say, no, let's target 2 of these. You can take one and pass it down if you want, but I think I attached those in an email, but
You did.
those are general portions. I think 2 areas in particular, and Michael can probably speak to this directly, that he's interested in because of the development he sees coming, and that is
It's
the,
all the same thing.
yeah, sorry.
I
Yeah,
wasn't
take-
very good
take
at
one
that.
from
I
each.
was,
I
I
didn't
was
look
thinking
at
it was a packet.
Yeah, so I should have done it. I should have done it that way, and I didn't think. So take one from each paper clip. I think the one, and Michael, you can speak up, but the Eastern Region number 2 and the Northwest Region are his priorities. The Eastern Region number 2 has a lot of potential development that, including some really high-end homes that, frankly would be nice for our tax base, but also just to kind of take things in. That's the region, and then a big chunk of that too, by the way, is I've forgotten the actual legal term, but I know the people who own that wooded area sort of just
Oh, I'm upside down.
and oh, did I print it upside down?
No. I mean,
no. I think you.
the way I'm looking at
Oh,
it
okay,
is,
'cause you
okay,
come
because this
from
is
the north.
Washington,
Yeah.
I'm coming from
Yeah.
here going that way, and I was like,
But the part that hugs the community center, I know I've talked to those people and they will not object to this, but I just don't know how the others will. So I think, again, that's one of his priorities. I guess I'll go to priority number 2 for Michael, which is this Northwest region. That obviously includes the Speedway, which has its own, it is what it is, but frankly, you guys don't have to mess with the private folks. The advantage is, frankly, while they're fighting among themselves, it's not going to be easy for them to really complain about getting brought into town limits, and that is likely to probably be a nice tax base for you guys, even as it is, and then certainly someday when and if it gets developed, that'll be nice. So that kind of squares things off up there.
That one.
which we already squared this.
Some of it. The interesting thing, you'll see in the very bottom, there's a lake there that, for reasons I can't recall why, were never brought into
I thought
town
we
limits.
brought that in not long ago. That was.
Well, that is in town limits already.
Yes,
You're
that
right.
was
Okay.
the one we just did.
That's right. You're correct. So that one,
There's a smaller one down the road.
and what's interesting is that you'll see the green line doesn't show it's in town, and that's because the county maps aren't up to date.
Updated.
Not much work to be done on GIS.
Yeah. So that's why shows that.
Right.
But the rest of it, and it is funky. You'll see like a couple properties there that are already in town limits, I believe, north.
I think
Yeah.
actually.
Well, because it's like this one is, that one's not, this one is.
Not being in, but indeed it is.
Okay.
If
So-
your home is in.
Well, this is working off the county GIS, so again, they're not totally up to date where the green line is.
Yes, because it is, then the thing right next to it is not, and then,
Neighbor is not.
and then the next house is.
Is.
Because it's like a zigzag there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this would clean that up, but in addition, I know that those people have been bickering and fighting over that speedway, but whatever happens, I do think it's an area, whether it's a speedway or whether it's homes, that it could be developed real soon, and it would be nice, I think, from you all's perspective, to have that in town limits beforehand, because as you know, once things get developed, it's a lot harder. I mean, you get that many more property owners that can potentially
Percentage.
complain, so it's just like the southeast region number 2, or eastern region number 1. No, I'm sorry, number 2. The eastern region number 2, same thing. I think there's some opportunity to bring it in before it really gets too developed. I guess since I just mentioned it, we'll go to eastern region number 1. That's one of those where we keep seeing Boonville go farther and farther west, and I think, as you guys have explained to me, that's what I have on the far right there is the natural right eastern boundary for Boonville. And so I think this just kind of puts the flag in the line
The
there.
stop line?
This
Because
here.
this is where Boonville goes, this is Center Road.
Right. And I think I'd heard from you guys, and I think from Rob as well, that, that Center Road would make a natural eastern boundary for Chandler. And so this is an opportunity to go ahead and take some of the limits on the east all the way there. Now the problem obviously with the below one is the trailer park, which has all of the environmental issues, and bringing that into town limits really bites off a lot that I don't think we're prepared to do yet. Now you'll see basically Lincoln Avenue is already, for the most part, in town limits. It's just kind of
Right.
hugs it. That green line there is accurate, I believe.
Right, I think it is.
To the yeah.
Right to here.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this kind of and of course that's the orange highlighted part that's all new. Yeah.
Okay. So
Would
this
be
is
new.
that road that goes towards Metzger's right here, off the highway.
Yeah.
That's Center.
No, well, the one right before there, the one that's not really a road, but kind of looks like.
No, that's their private property.
Yeah, no, but
No, that's not a road.
It's not really.
No, that's not a road.
Oh, I'm talking here, from here.
That's
That's where it
Metzger's
comes off
property.
their,
Yeah,
their
that's
ground.
all.
It's
Yeah.
their driveway,
Well,
actually,
it's their-
kind
yeah,
of.
it's their back
Off of the
entrance.
highway, yes,
Yeah, it's
that's
their
what it
back
is.
entrance.
I just want to make sure I was looking at
Yeah,
it right.
yeah, you're looking at it right.
Okay,
So that was the third one for you to consider. And then the last one would be the southwest region, and this is to square up the utility lines. I mean, Chandler provides utilities to all of this area. Again, that's farmland, and now it's tough for people to believe this or accept this, but when you are zoned agriculture, when you get brought in via annexation, your property tax rates cannot change. You remain at 1% and or whatever you're at, but it cannot go up, and that's because the ag community has lobbied for that. So those farmers there shouldn't really care to them. The benefit is once it ever does get developed, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, it's already in town limits.
so this is just east of ERI.
Yes.
There's like a couple, few houses there.
West of you.
Or west.
I'm sorry, you're correct, west of ERI.
All
And
the
then
way
down
to-
Castle Garden
Garden.
Road.
Right.
What the heavens? Castle Garden Road. And is that down to Eddie Lane? Can't tell.
No, it's,
Let's
I
see.
can't read it either, but I
no,
think
it's
it is.
West Castle Orchard Road.
Yeah.
Orchard Lane,
Yes.
West Castle Orchard Lane.
Okay, then what's the road before that's probably Eddie Lane.
Yeah, I
then.
think so.
Okay, so it's past Eddie Lane.
And you may recall our strategy last time when we considered annexations, we had 3 different targets. And the nice thing about breaking it up into that is if you encounter very stiff vocal opposition and you decide, hey, I don't really want to mess with this, it's easy to say, okay, we're going to drop this one and move along with the other 2. And so kind of the same thing here, rather than put these all in one chunk, you could break it up into 4 and worst case scenario, you really get a group of pretty vehement people that are very, very opposed. You can make the decision then to just go forward with ones that are open to it.
Gotcha. So,
again, for priority, I think the eastern
Eastern.
region number 2 and then the northwest are ones that are, I think, important. And then the other 2 are, if you're going to go through the trouble of all those hearings and everything, these other 2 areas are something I think you ought to at least consider. Just, they square things up and get to places that seem like natural growth if you're going to go through it. But again, obviously, you guys can think about that. There's no decisions necessarily to be made today, but maybe if you want to think about it, and then we can put this on the agenda for next month again to chat about and see if you guys have made any decisions, thoughts, et cetera, and how you want to proceed. Or, obviously you can share it now too, but.
So 210 and 220, that is ERI, right?
on the
Southwest
West
region?
Virgin,
Yeah, right, in that.
Yeah, in the green, the buildings, that's ERI.
that's, yeah. Instead of looking at it this way, if you turn it up this way, this is Gardner going out onto the highway.
Yeah.
I have to turn everything upside down because
I always have to have my facing north up.
Okay,
Then I know what it is.
see, I'm a south up, it looks like.
North up, then I know what it is.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely need to entertain because we need to entertain extra, that. So I would like to see us put it on the agenda for further discussion the first meeting of September.
Not,
Give us,
okay, yeah.
or, well,
Yeah,
I mean, instead of 2 weeks, do it in 4
Okay.
weeks.
Yeah.
If that's okay with everybody, give everybody an opportunity to look at it
Think about
and
it.
think
Yeah.
about the other things that
Focus
come
on-
along with it.
Talk to some people about it.
There's other things that come along with it. It also means we have expanded police services that come in there. Interested to see what sort of tax base would come with that because of the services.
Yeah, and that'd be probably something we could even ask Baker Tilly to
Try to get
try.
the,
I don't know how easy that'd be for them to calculate, but
okay.
that
Be
would,
it'd be nice to know.
yeah.
As you're taking on those extra areas, because you do have extra coverage that has to go with some of that.
Have we, I think it's twice now you guys have done, well, I guess the last round of annexations were pretty much all voluntary for the most
Correct.
part. But the one before, although we had the one family, otherwise the other two regions just did not have a lot of opposition. So
No,
that could,
Right.
that, I think that's a good sign to me in terms of what could happen,
okay.
in the future. Okay. Third item is utilities. Mentioned last time, I think Rob has mentioned, and he's mentioned in emails, but there are basically 4 different things. Telephone road widening, South State Street, Libert Road widening, and a new water tank. And talking with him and Baker Tilly, it probably makes sense to go forward with some debt issuance to pay that. That'll probably be close to just shy of $10 million when you take the hard costs and soft costs together. And then tied with that, basically you'd have a rate case that would pay for that debt. I don't know yet from Baker Tilly what those changes in rates would be. I don't expect, though, given how big the utility has become, that it'd be a very significant effect on it, but I think Baker Tilly is working on that. Initially, there was talk of issuing what's called a bond anticipation note. That's basically a loan that you take until you issue the bond, and then the bond pays off the note or the loan. But I think based on talking with Baker Tilly, that the thought process is, and I apologize to Misty, she wasn't on this most recent call, so I want to make sure she can be included in the future ones. But I think the thought process from Baker Tilly is that that ban or that loan note isn't really needed right away, so it can be done in November. That basically you guys could pass a resolution here at the next meeting that would say whatever money we spend out of our current funds, which there's enough for several months here, that we would be reimbursed from the bond that's issued in January, February-ish. So that way there's no need to issue sort of the note now and then a bond. There's enough to sort of sustain it. You guys just have to pass a resolution that says whatever we spend, we're going to reimburse
From the bond.
from the bond once it's issued. So I want to put that on your radar again. I'll circulate that before the next meeting, but I'll bring that as something for you guys to consider and vote on. And again, don't hesitate to ask questions and all that kind of stuff. Scott Miller at Baker Tilly is really good at answering those questions too. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. That brings me to the next issue, which Tanya has been asking me quite a bit about, and thanks for staying on me because I'd send emails to Baker Tilly and I think it got lost. But finally today had a conversation with them about the PSLIT. You'll recall that the county had tried to take away the PSLIT and we called their bluff and said you didn't follow the rules, and that led to a big kerfuffle. They ultimately decided to punt until this fall. Hopefully they see the light of day and say, hey, if they have issues with how the township is doing things, then just don't give the township public safety dollars. That's something they can choose to do or not to do. don't take it out on the municipalities would be my message. But you'll recall there is a state law that says if you have bonded or leased a certain amount of money from the PSLIT, the county council can't touch it. The problem is it's a pretty decent amount. I think it's somewhere north of like 25% of that. And then if you bond or lease that amount out, you can't really use it for operational stuff. It really starts to cut into it. So what I asked them to do, I walked through the reasoning and all that. They're going to put together what that amount would be that would be needed for you guys to spend to trigger that. I also, shared with them my concern that, it's also unfortunate that Chandler would have to be the one to take those steps just to benefit every other municipality. Why should we lock up our PSLIT and bonds and leases to save the PSLIT, and then Newburgh and Boonville can keep doing what they've been doing? And they pointed out that they work with Boonville as well, and Boonville, Charlie Wyatt is apparently very upset with county council, and they had been in the process of either already or on the verge of entering into a long-term lease for a new fire truck. And I pointed out, well, if they're already doing that, it'd be nice to see how much more they need to lease or bond to get to that, right? Because maybe it makes more sense for Boonville to take this step, because whichever municipality does it, everybody sort of gets locked in. So they're going to go look and see where Boonville is on that, and maybe we could basically get them to help do this. But, my hope is that county council sees the light of day and sees this isn't the right thing to do. They don't need to be cutting it. So
Because
anyway.
without this knowledge, we've had discussions about our fire station. We can't do anything without this knowledge of knowing what.
Right.
How much we have there, what we can spend to
Right.
put into, because that was the original reason, if you recall, for us fighting for the PS lit, was then we discovered all the other inequities that we could fill
Right.
with it as well.
I think right now as I understand from Baker Tilly, about half is going to the police, half is going to fire right now. Police is, I think, a lot of it's now for salaries. So again, that's hard. That's another reason that it's very difficult to then come in and
cut
and tie it up for bonds and leases when you're using it for
Right.
operational stuff. Now, on the other hand, you'd if the choice between tying it up in bonds and leases or giving up a big chunk of it, you'd rather tie it up into bonds and leases. But the ideal is to not have to do any of that and just use it as you want to use it for operational stuff. So, long story short, Baker Tilly is pulling together numbers of what it currently looks like, what various options and all that kind of stuff, and also hopefully maybe they can help shed light on what Boonville could do. And then I think you guys that have good relationships with Boonville folks maybe could have that kind of conversation and say, here's what you could do to help basically take this off the table where county council doesn't have a choice for us. Okay, then finally, two quick things. Previously, you guys have adopted some changes to the holidays and some different other policies that were sort of one-offs but weren't ever really incorporated in the handbook. So at the next meeting in August, and again, another thing that I will circulate some red lines to bring that handbook into compliance with the policies you guys already have adopted in other ways, just so it's all up to date and clean. And then finally, I think we talked about this via email, but Jed Hudson, I'll put him on the agenda for the next meeting too, Brian, for his public hearing where I guess he's
Did you get pictures?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
And I yeah. And we probably maybe could have pushed it in terms of notice for today, but I think it's better to have all our ducks in a row and have all the pictures and reasons and all that ready to go. So sorry I had so much tonight, but it is what it is. So
Okay.
there you go.
All right. Please, Chief.
So I have one request, and that's to raise our part-time officer pay. He hadn't graduated, basically doing the same job as everybody else.
And not for the amount you first said.
Yeah, not the amount I first said.
His numbers were wrong.
Would be their hourly pay, that's $25.46 an hour.
So Josh, so what he's asking is, we no longer have part-time officers besides the one, and the one is an academy
Yeah.
graduate. Okay, but he's not full-time, he would like to pay him the same hourly rate as what we pay our full-time officers, but he's not full-time. So how do we change that?
Well, really, it would just be an amendment to the salary ordinance,
Okay,
which if you guys want me to do, I can bring it to the,
so we can do that at the next meeting.
yeah. So, and I can get with you. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
If you, I mean, Kirk figured it out exactly what his hourly was. He thought he was off on it earlier, but it's 25 something, I think.
Okay.
And currently it's, what is the part-time person? 20? 20. I mean, I think, you're talking about the PS Lit. I think the idea is you would like to try to keep this person long enough that we can figure out our budget and make him full-time.
Yeah, I think I sent out Baker Tilly, so.
Okay,
Find out soon.
we'll find out soon on that.
Okay, yep.
Okay. All right. Then is that all you have? You want to, fire department? You want to come up?
Since you guys have a long-winded email, so we'll just start at
He's a little smart, I like him.
the top, we kind of hit on it a little bit already, communication. Drain progress, anything we can do, just waiting on Baker Tilly, or?
Basically trying to get information on, I mean, we can't do anything without securing the PS Lit. And then once we secure the PS Lit, then we can talk serious on what we can do for as far as fire station with that PS Lit. So if you can get Boonville to, go a little faster on what they're doing, it'd make it easier for us. The station is something that could do that, yeah. I mean, but we have to have that information as to how much we can have to do. That's what he's waiting for from them.
Next was the new cascade system, walking $46,000. Kind of explained it all in there, why we need new ones. Ours barely came on. Gary, you remember when we got that hole, is that? I don't remember it. The best I can figure is at least 35 years old. Yeah. Can't get parts for it anymore. I know I sent you guys the one quote, that's somebody else. I couldn't get a quote from you. I called 3 or 4 different people, and that was the only quote that I got back. So I just wanted your guys' approval to purchase.
For those out there that don't know, the Cascade is what fills the SCBA's for them. It is absolutely a needed thing, and you have it in budget, correct?
Oh.
Brighton? I mean, yeah,
No brainer.
yeah.
It's in budget, good,
So,
if it's needed.
yeah, if you get 30 to 35 years out of a, something like that, I think it's rent it's worth. If you can't get parts for something that you have to have, it's time to replace. So I don't think we really have to approve that, do we? Because
No.
now it's budgeted.
Budgeted, yeah.
I mean, it's under your operations. Then the only other thing you had on there was you want to add 2 packs, right?
Yeah, just adding, buying 2 more additional air packs to go into the pickup.
And you have budget for that. Then I think you just,
$1,077.
Yeah.
No. If it's budgeted, you need them.
then you need to order them.
Yep.
He was really worried that we were going to tell him no on getting that Cascade. Or try to talk him out of it.
We had a $54,000 budget for how long we couldn't do anything, so.
It feels weird to be able to have a budget to buy things. Okay. It does say Director of Public Services, but I want to say it's not the director, it's the assistant director that's here today.
Nothing out of the ordinary, we sent you a packet in. We were wanting to know about the statement. You guys are into the statement.
I never got hold of Brad.
Brad never took a look at it.
No, I never got a hold of Brad. I've not been able to. I'm going to try again. Okay. I went over there actually this morning on my way to work, and at 6:49 this morning, there was kids riding bikes in the bike park.
Really?
6:49. I mean, because I thought, holy heavens. So I looked, 6:49 was what my phone said. I thought, okay. But I thought they might be over there getting ready to start working or something this morning, and I didn't see him or anything.
They were there, but maybe they got there after.
They may have, but I mean, there was a van that was in the parking lot, and the van had a place for bikes on the back of it. I mean, these kids looked like they were serious riders. Of course, you know, I guess jumping those things to me would be serious anyway. But you know, there was 2 boys there, probably 12, 13 years old, riding at 6:49 this morning. And they may have been ones that are coming to work help on that. I don't know, but they were most certainly riding it at 6:49 this morning. Because I was late to work. Okay, but we are working on that. We will still get that for him. And I do want to say one other thing. Rob's not here or whatever, but I did talk to him the other day. And he said within the next few years, he expects us to have 10,000 water customers within the next 4 to 5 years. Yeah. He said it slowed down for a little bit, but it's really ramping back up.
That just blows me away.
I know, just
It does.
thought
Blows me away.
I could bring that up because we're most of our water system is not this town.
No,
And most of our water system though is not this town. It's not.
Crazy.
It's insane. I mean, you think about the vision that happened probably 25 years ago for this to be able to happen now. So I just thought it was noteworthy. Okay, utility administrator.
I don't have anything. I sent you guys in information, unless you guys have a question on anything.
Not a question, other than I think I want to thank you for publicly thank you for doing all that grant work. You've done an excellent job working on that, and it's much appreciated. I also want to say a public thank you for the work that you've done at having the food trucks here. I know you and your team organizing that has been an extra thing, but I will say I think that people really enjoy it. I think it's been a nice summer additive, a little spice there for the summer. And I sure do like that ice cream. And I don't really like ice cream, but yeah, I find myself getting it more than I should. It's kind of hard to miss. So, and I see that you also have the sidewalk stuff, the draft for the sidewalk stuff from Larry.
Yep. I did ask them for a price on that.
Yeah,
today, too,
okay.
So as soon as I get that back,
Okay.
he said they'll work on that.
I think it's pretty exciting, the idea of putting together this plan for the sidewalk stuff. Brian, are you doing that? Michael?
Just making sure you want to have your pictures up there.
Okay. So, and then we all look forward to hearing from you guys next time on the water soil conservation. Okay. All right, then if you don't have anything else, we'll move to Michael now because he's ready for us.
It's not working. That's
Just
weird.
trying to do it. I
That one's-
apologize.
This one's out.
Apple phone does not seem to cooperate with this system so well, so I use my personal phone to do these.
Is that one off,
photos.
Brian? Oh, yep,
Here
it's
it
off.
is.
That is a tree that is virtually gone, and
Where's that at?
that is on the town's property. It is on North Indiana. The picture
Right
there
by
may
high-tech
be
sheet
somewhat
metal.
misleading, because it's
Okay,
taken more
that's
like
the one you were
east
talking
to west. So it's almost like I'm facing the west, and that's why you see the neighbor's garage. The neighbor's garage is about 37 feet from that tree. The town property is about 25 feet from the garage.
I think
What kind of tree is it, Michael?
I'm sorry?
What kind of tree is
a
it?
dead one.
I do not know. I've asked for an estimate last week. S&S was supposed to have had an estimate for me by the meeting tonight. They failed to do so, so I don't know the cost of taking it out. And the best I could do here was to basically take a photo of the GIS, our system. It kind of maybe helps put it in perspective. The two green lines, of course, would be our Jefferson Street, or I'm sorry, North Indiana Street property. So the homeowner drives in basically on the property that is owned by the town, turns, goes into his drive or his garage, and it's been brought to our attention that, again, as you notice, there's a very dead, rotted tree, and the danger would be falling on a vehicle in the driveway. And to avoid that, take that tree out. We've asked again for a bid to take that tree out. Well, as I looked at that, I'm just thinking, well, what would be the best plan? And my thinking would be is to vacate the property and give it to the gentleman who has a driveway on it, and then let him solve the tree problem.
Well,
Is that too blunt?
no, that wasn't too blunt. That's not where I thought you were going.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No.
Well, I mean, if you look at that.
I mean, you know, I see where you're coming from, because this is kind of like the other end that was Taylor
Do
Avenue.
you know where high-tech sheet metal is?
Taylor Avenue
It's
and,
Where Bill,
Okay.
What,
his last name.
are there utilities on that property?
Pardon me?
Are there utilities on that property?
I did not explore that. You
No,
know,
that is mapped out as being a street.
Street.
Indiana Street.
oh, yeah,
okay.
that's what it
High-tech
was.
sheet metal's on this side.
Okay, let me see if I can.
And then
and I-
Bill lives, I can't think of Bill's last name, he lives on that side.
And
Okay.
I think that
That's high-tech.
Grover's had that
Jefferson
conversation
Street.
before.
That's the
Yeah,
edge of that's actually the edge of the building?
High-tech sheet metal.
Okay.
yes.
That's the edge of high tech.
yes.
But that was,
That's Jefferson Street. It's like Kemper's High-Tech, and then that has been platted as Indiana Street since they platted it.
okay.
And they never did anything with it. And when they built that house, because that little bit of gravel was there, yes, he has cutted that grass, I know, for 30 years.
We don't cut
Well,
it.
what's on to the north?
Well, that's a big problem.
That's
You
behind
really-
Cheryl's house.
You really don't want to get into that, because I could get really nasty about that right now.
Okay, okay.
Because if I wanted to be the ugly neighbor, I would go to high-tech sheet metal and say, hey, guys, your drop-down spigots or water spouts are coming down on
Running
my
down, yeah.
property, which
Okay.
is eroding my property along with that mess.
Yeah.
The water goes down that Indiana Street.
Okay.
And behind Bill's house goes down, and that all just shoots through our property. You can see the erosion in my property.
Yeah. So now that square right there, where it said, where CHAN is in?
That is my property.
Is
That's
that
back
your
of
property?
That's my
Okay,
property.
then if you go then north
And that's my
to the
property
next, that's
too.
yours too, okay.
That's back behind my house. We
Okay.
actually own 4 parcels of ground
Okay,
there.
okay,
But that,
okay.
where the LER is,
Yeah.
that's Indiana Street.
That's been an easement for a future possible street.
Yes, that they'll
For
never.
years
open.
ago.
Since Keller Development has went in, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. And, to follow up on that conversation, as you look at that whole square, to the left of that screen there, there's another narrow strip that would actually be owned by the town.
It's that
I know
easement.
we're opening up a can of worms here, but why not square it all up and just vacate it and give it to the property owner?
I don't think you can. Can you? Because
I don't know,
on that,
there's-
on that easement is a main gas line.
you know,
And we learned that 4 or 5 years ago.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now, that's the little one on the left,
yes.
not where the street,
No,
proposed street was.
this over here.
Okay,
That is,
so that needs
The in
to,
between your two lots,
yes,
so that needs to stay where
your
where
west
it
and your
is.
east lots.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, there is an easement. Sorry, that just a whole lot of information, wasn't it? But, and I know that gas line is an active gas line because it heats my garage.
Well, okay, I'm sorry, I think I caught you off guard, and I was a little direct, but it's a dead tree that does need to come out, so. I'm
Does
assuming
Bill
it's
want
gonna
that
cost a few $1,000s to take it out.
Does
and-
Bill want that property?
Pardon me?
Does Bill want that property?
I haven't asked him about it, I was just looking at that this afternoon and just thinking of the, you know, what the hell?
Okay,
That much space up there.
But, okay, so here's the other thing, is that his driveway is technically not all in that. It goes
And
to
he
the-
knows that,
Okay.
but when that house was built, Tanya,
Oh, I
this I can
know.
speak about, but when that house was built, whomever was in charge back then
Didn't draw straight.
didn't make them, because you see where that truck is parked at the bottom?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let me go to the thing. When that house was built 35 years ago, this here was there. And whoever was on then said, oh yeah, you can just put that driveway on where it hooks there. Now, we as a town could say, oh no, you gotta move your driveway, and that's doable.
It's not
But
nice.
it's silly when that's there, and he's maintained this property. Now, that's a mess, but that property, he's maintained all these years. He mows it, trims it, cleans it. I'm sure he's gravelled that driveway. That's actually a road over the years.
So,
There's the history.
you know, technically, we need to find out if there is any other utilities on that. Because
I don't think there's any-
I doubt there is.
I don't think there's anything on that because that is
The road.
road.
But the crazy thing is that there's always the possibility without,
Well, I think his utilities to his house comes in from the backside, and they're all like ours underground.
okay,
Just saying.
Is the property owner interested in,
or should we talk to him?
Are you interested in me talking to him about it?
Well, I mean, if he's maintained it for 50 years and we've not done anything to it, we don't have any plans for it. Why, I mean, we're not in the land business just to have the land business to cut down trees.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
So when you give the land to him, or do you make him remove the tree?
well, that's the whole thing, is if he gets the, here's the whole thing, Sandy, no, if he gets the
He
land,
wants the tree gone.
he wants the tree gone, but,
Okay.
you know, if he wants the land, then the tree's gonna be his problem. But if he wants us to keep the land, then,
I know he wants the tree gone from our conversation. But I think he thought first he would check since, you know, he knows it's on our property. I think he thought he would check with us first to see if the town would take care of their property, our property.
Just, would it be not maybe in his best interest to go ahead and accept that in the event that they would ever want to sell that property? Because the next owner is not gonna understand this history you just pointed out.
Yeah.
you know, that's what I'm saying, is like, you know, ask him, you know, would you be interested in you taking care of the tree if, you know, we made some sort of arrangement in there that,
I lived
We screwed it
there
up.
for 15 years probably before I knew, because we were told there were no gas, there was no way we could have gas at our home because there was no gas there. Then I find out later
you got that big old gas line.
that a main line, this was part of the line that was exposed over in the field next,
Right.
that we had all around with.
Where did that line run?
North and south.
Yes, it runs north and south. And you know, the gas pipeline airplane guy that flies over and checks the pipelines once every Monday, I think it is, or Tuesday, whatever day, he flies that line. So,
So that would be my question to you. If you think this idea is plausible that I just presented, I would be more than happy to talk with him about that. Because I think that in his best interest, it would be to take that property because of the future. He's not gonna live forever. Somebody's gonna take that property.
And he may want to sell and move elsewhere.
Right.
Yes,
he's older, yes, he's an older gentleman too.
yes.
Well, the Amoses might be interested in the property that goes the rest of the way back onto the property.
Whoever's interested in buying that property is gonna look at that, you know, and just, you know, scratch their head.
I'm not gonna buy it. I'm just saying I'd be interested in it if you're gonna give it away.
You're gonna
Because
vacate
that is a tree mess that we haven't cleaned on or did any cleaning or cleaning out of because it's not our property. But that is a mess right there. That is a huge mess. And if I wanted to be really ugly, I could be, but just saying. Well, I mean, it's causing a lot of problems.
So
We cleaned out a ton, but it's causing a lot of problems back there.
I saw it today. I understand what you're saying.
I do think that Yeah, you need to we need to go first and talk to the homeowner. We don't have anything back for an estimate anyway, for you to get, for you to be able to remove it anyway. So while you're waiting on that, have a conversation with him.
So that would be agreeable.
Yeah,
I don't think any of us would have an issue with doing that.
I don't.
Makes sense. I mean, there's lots of little things like that it wouldn't throughout town, because she's correct. People just did whatever at one point in time. It's nice to,
Take them off one at a time.
Right.
try to fix them.
And I'm not opposed to, on that little part, making that all squared off, but I just don't think we can because of the main line that runs through there.
Right.
I think we have to
I'll
keep that
explore
easement.
If y'all are interested, I'll look at all of our possibilities of squaring up that area.
okay,
Maybe one of
Sounds
our
like a plan.
comments that we kind of work on.
okay,
So, hey, that's good. I'm fine.
okay, great news. All right, clerk treasurer. That's good words. Because this has been a busy night. Anything on the parks? I mean, like I said, I saw that they were moving on the bike stuff out there. The kids were out there playing. It was nice to see. I really want to get back there and walk it. I just haven't had a chance to.
Every time I've been over there, there's been kids there, and I've been over there a lot lately.
I was just surprised that I've been over there and seen them several times, but 6:49 in the morning. I wasn't moving as fast as they were. So, all right. Any new or old business anyone would like to discuss?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
Mother has asked me to ask this. There is the property, that behind my mom's house, the town owns. One thing, there's a tree back there that it's dead. Eventually, it's going to fall down. It's worrying her to death about that. And then she also wanted to know about. She would like to remove that shed, but she has to have access to get to it because there's no way she can go through her yard. to
That
get to
back
it.
way, yeah.
She'd have to go either come off of Iowa, I guess, and up from that way.
I mean, coming from our property, she'd have to come off Iowa.
Right.
I don't think anyone would have any problem. This is the shed that is actually sitting on our property, but it had been there for years because it was the Fisher Brothers when they owned it, had no issue with it being there. And we didn't either. We allowed, but she's ready to remove it. So,
Actually have her remove this.
But you need permission to, whoever's gonna remove
To get in there
it,
to
get
get
on
to
our
it,
property,
'cause
get
we
to
cannot-
it.
yeah.
I think
Now-
Michael would be the best one to show you the best way to get there. Don't you think? Because I think that's what I'm
But
saying. That's the
don't
reason
have
I'm saying
I
that.
don't have any problem with granting her the permission to do that.
No. There's no other way to do it.
I don't know if they could look at that tree and see it.
Yes, and there's another tree for you.
Sorry.
2 weeks. Okay.
I gotta give you a name of another contractor you might be interested
So,
in checking with.
all right. Then moving down to presentation of claims, $902,215.10.
One thing, I'm sorry, I probably should have brought this up when Ms. Lockyer was here. I just would, just bring to your attention of the fines, and that's all well and good to grant mercy. But we did spend out $1,900 of our unsafe building funds to clear the property. If we could.
We're not stopping any of the previous funds for her.
Yeah.
Fines for her.
I don't even think she asked for it. She
Well,
admitted that
I
she-
think she kind of wanted it, but her son said, accept what they're giving you.
Yeah, say thank you.
Yeah, say thank you, is what he actually said.
I
So,
guess moving to a payment plan or some kind of action was my.
I mean, you could do that. You could put a lien on the property. File with, the courthouse and puts a lien on the property against the taxes.
We'll see how this thing progresses.
So, but, I mean, thank you for your work on it and Jordan as well, because it's been
I'm just trying to replace some of our funds so we can do some more.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can he file the lien and then have her to put a payment plan towards paying that off? Is that legal or not? Or is that,
Brian?
is that a gray area?
I don't think, if you file a lien, I think they cover it to the property taxes. So
Yeah.
I don't think the
Okay.
county will allow you to do it.
Now, she could pay it off before the lien hits her property taxes, and then you can take it off. But yeah.
Got it. Wasn't sure.
Those are things that just didn't happen overnight there.
Right.
Can we require her to make that, at least pay that portion, and and then the other we can.
I mean, it's broke out, okay? So the cost is broke out, I guess is what I'm saying. You know, he has, how much was paid out of, how did you have, how much? $900. Could the fines be, I mean, since it's broke out and split out, is there a possible way we could do something a little different with that? Oh, Michael, what did you say? Yeah, there we go. The cost of removal, you had $1,904.20. Okay, and then the fines were $3,250. So could the actual cost of removal be done through a payment plan, because he's trying to get it back faster, and put the fines on as a lien since they're separated?
Yeah, you could definitely do that. I think the question is, do you really think you'd get it back faster? Because I'm not convinced you will. I mean, because the lien hits twice a year, you know, so now there's a chance they don't pay the lien. I don't know. I mean, if you still have a mortgage on the property, it definitely, you know, your bank makes sure it gets paid, basically. But if they don't have a mortgage on the property, I don't know.
I believe our only leverage would be the taxes. I don't think there's a mortgage on the property.
Yeah. So, okay.
Okay. All right, back to claims here. $902,215.10. Any questions, concerns? If not, I'd like to entertain motions to accept the claims as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Tanya,
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Okay, the claims pass as presented. At this time, I'd like to entertain motions to recess into our next regular scheduled meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Oh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Stop time. Didn't know if I was gonna make it. Didn't know I was gonna make it.
There it went. You said it wasn't going dead. Push the button like 3 times.